everyone, welcome back to another video. Today I'll be showing you how I made my new intro. So the first thing you might see is this giant brick wall behind it. This is the Bricks 22 that I got from Polygon. I'm going to pull into the shader editor, and the Polygon plugin did all of the nodes for me, but the one thing I had to do is I had to pull the displacement map down over here for the displacement modifier, and I have a scale of 0.004, so that way the bricks aren't too big. And we're just going to quickly enter shading mode, and you can kind of see that there is some depth to the bricks. So the next thing are these neon tubes. What I did is I took some text and then I made it into curves, and then used two tubes for the outside, and I deleted the ones that weren't needed. So then the next big part are the actual neon tubes. So you might notice that they're still one object, but they have two separate colors. And then also when you zoom in on them at the right angles, you can see how the inner tube is too bright, or is brighter than the outer tube. So I did this by just gotta get rid of these tabs. So the first thing you're going to see is there's this color ramp. I have it set to RGB and constant. This is so that the back parts of the tube are just black. There is some problems with the tube you might see, but you're not going to really see that. So I have a gradient texture so I can put it on, and I have some mapping so I can get better control of where it is. And this feeds into the amount kind of thing on the mix shader. So then we have a principled BDSF that's just black, and it's pretty rough. It's kind of trying to emulate paint. And then that goes into the surface. So then the next part is we have a layer weight on the facing, which is how we get the different parts, because it's kind of like a map of like the center. I got all this from the Blender Grooves tutorial, so this is why it's kind of recognizable. Then I put it into the emission, and the color is this kind of lighter red and darker red. And I have it a strength of 10. Some people on the subreddit, Blender subreddit, said that the 20 was a little too strong. And then the thing is, the pipes, they're glossy. Like you might see here that they do shine. So I then added a glossy BDSF using the add shader, and then I put those into mix shader, and then move the shader to the material output. This is one of the most complicated node setups that I've done. Now, you might have seen in the animation that the bottom Jake's neon sign actually lights up. So it's the same thing, except right here I have a mix shader. So when I move it to 0, it's only the top input. When I move it to 1, it's only the bottom input, which is nothing, which essentially just turns it off. Now, it'd probably be better if I changed the actual like gloss of the pipe so that it's the emission part is gone and it's still just like a glossy tube, not that it's just nothingness. But I don't think it really changes it too much. So then now that we have the neon tubes, I'm just going to hide these. So to make it look more realistic, I put in these little clips to kind of hold everything in place. I know that in real life they're normally clipped to the back, but this is the best I could get. And for it I have a glass BDSF on Beckman in a roughness of about a half and the base index of refraction. And then I have a principal BDSF and then a mix shader. So I'm just gonna go into render mode quickly to show you that I chose this so that you could still see that there were clips, but they weren't like transparent. So then from a distance it's harder to see that. Like you can, if you notice them, you'll know that they're there. But other than that, it's hard to see it. So I'm just going to reset everything. Then what I have back here is I have the little cable, which is just a black BDSF. And then I used a Bezier or a Bezier curve, trying to get it to match what is realistic. Now I know that I could do some more editing to get it look more realistic, but I kind of had to try to imitate what it would do in real life. And then right here, for the like clips, for like the power clips to the neon tubes, I have just a gray color in there. And then I'm just gonna hide that collection. So the last step, minus these curves, is these little boxes behind them. When I was just doing a front render, like back here, it didn't really matter if these were actually connected to the wall. But then when I did the animation, they ended up going all the way to the side, so you could see if they were floating. So to kind of remove some ambiguity, I extruded the corners so that they could go through the wall. And then to get this little center part, I just did a ring and kind of just pulled it in. And I did that twice for both of them. And that is the same thing that I did right here for the tabs kind of connecting them. Yeah. So then I just had to render all of this. So for the settings, I did 1920 by 1080 at 100%. I did 24 frames a second, and then I did 350 samples for it. For the color management, for the display device, I did sRGB, and for the actual one, I did Filmic. And I might want to change this all to, I can't change that to Filmic. I might want to change that to Filmic. And I don't have any freestyle. And then for the light paths, I went through and halved most of the stuff down, trying to get it to go a lot faster. And didn't do anything with the hair or baking anything. Just did an AVI JPEG. And it all looked pretty good. Now, some of you might know that this is the Blender Guru's tutorial on how to make a neon sign in Blender, which is exactly what I did. But I don't really do much software that's like Blender and stuff. So if you want to make your own, I would recommend going to do that, because it's a pretty good tutorial and it isn't extremely long. Thanks for watching. Remember, if you like the videos I make, please subscribe. If you liked it, also like it. If you want to stay tuned for more videos, I know it's uncommon that I'll upload 2 videos in 2 days. Hit that notification button. Any ideas for different types of videos, leave them down in the comments. And as always, keep on printing and designing.